Hi there, it's Adam, and I'm going to talk about death, which is a subject I have talked about quite a lot of times, but I've never talked about it having just lost my dad, which I did 2 weeks ago. So, now I get to talk about it going through the experience rather than commenting on other people going through the experience. And now that I've had the opportunity of experiencing all of the emotion that comes when you find out that one of your parents or somebody close to you has died, it was like a tsunami of emotion coming through. People were phoning me, I couldn't talk to them, I was choking the whole time. It was the most challenging thing that I've ever had to deal with emotionally, ever. But the thing is, when stuff like that happens, you realise that sometimes you have to be stronger for other people. And even though I was going through a lot of trauma myself, and I knew that Dad was still here, but I was still processing him not being here physically. My nephew was with him when he died, and he was being traumatised by the fact that he felt he could have done more. And this is something that happens to anyone who loses a close family relative. There'll always be the question, could I have done anything else? And we were able to fast forward to the point where we know what my dad would have said. He wouldn't have wanted any of us feeling bad. And Dad would have taken a quick death any day of the week. He was more worried about care homes, tubes out of every orifice, long hospital stays. So even though this is a really difficult time for our family, there's also the appreciation that he was very lucky to just drop dead. That's what he would have wanted, a very quick exit. So in reaching resolution, I told my family that he's still with us, and no one believed me. So my nephew came down, and he was really struggling because he was with my dad when he died, and he was beating himself up. And I told him to ask his granddad for a message to let him know that he was still here. And he asked him, he sat down, we watched a film, and midway through the film, my dad's phone started buzzing. It was underneath the couch. We didn't know where it was until that point. It'd be buzzing under my nephew Connor's backside. So he pulled it out, saw the phone, handed it to me, completely eyes open. And we flipped open the phone and found out there's no missed calls, no missed messages, and then almost 3/4 of the battery still there, no reason to buzz. And from that moment, he was completely on board that my granddad's still around. Now, no doubt there'll be some of you looking at this thinking, oh, that's all well and good, Adam, but that's just fairy tales. And that's fine, you're entitled to your opinion. But one thing that I'm going to tell you, probably one of life's biggest lessons if you want to move through grief really fast, is it really helps to believe in some sort of life after death. And the first time I counselled people through this, I didn't even believe it myself. But after 20 years of looking after people who were going through death and dying or dealing with the loss of a parent, and the experiences I had as a nurse, I am now certain that the spirit, the energy lives on. So one day you're going to have to deal with it. If you haven't already, the death of a close family relative, a loved one, a friend, and you are going to be counselling the younger generation through that. I'm going to tell you that it really pays to open your mind to the fact that the presence is still there and there's some sort of life after death. Because if you don't believe that, you'll wish you did at some stage in your life. That's my little top tip going through the grieving process, and in between the waves of emotion that come through. It's never an easy task. Only time can cure it. But gratitude, appreciation, and the knowledge that your loved one, my dad, is still with us in spirit and energy, it really helps the process.